All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Long time no see, long time no see. Hope you guys are doing good. All of you out there in the cryptoverse. We have had a crazy month or two now. It's probably been about a month, to be honest. Been having to take over a little bit extra work at the office. Been enjoying you know, it's always good when you get the opportunity to get some work that's been in the back on the back load done, if you know what I mean. But been really concentrating on everything IRL, so I haven't been streaming as much. Hope you guys have been doing okay, doing good. We have quite a bit to catch up on, to be quite honest. Jumping on today, we got 518 players online. Not too bad, not too bad. Haven't had a chance really to check in with the blockchain emporium too much, or the virtual marketplace. But from what I've heard from a few other players, is that we've had a little bit of a slowdown right now, which makes sense to me. While we wait for the next update to come along. But really, during this time, other than work, been doing hardcore, in-depth info gathering on the cryptoverse, starting to make plans for the second half of the year in terms of investments, portfolio management for both you know, cryptocurrency, blockchains, DeFi, NFTs, across the board. And that is probably going to be what our main focus of discussion is for today. Got a little bit of time to stream here with you guys. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit that follow button. Give me a thumbs up. And find me on Twitter. The Twitter handle is fmunoz CPA. In the meantime, it seems like we might be getting to a really interesting point here, at least within the crypto markets. We've had the opportunity here over the past, really what, like, it's been about a week's worth of downtime in terms of the markets, and we had a recent push up. You know, the entire market coming up, of course. Bitcoin, Ethereum leading the charge. Gaming tokens continuing to do well. You know, regardless of whether we're in a bull market or a bear market, you know, that's for you to decide. I personally think we're still in an accumulation phase of a continuing bull market. Hey, F2P coming in on in. Whoa, we just got a sub, and I didn't get the notification. I guess I still haven't fixed that. That's what happens when you haven't streamed in a little bit, right? Hope you're doing good, brother. Good to see you back in here, man. We have just been diving deep into crypto information, researching the market, looking at price valuations, getting a good understanding of the projects that we want to go ahead and take the profits on, and shift into some more projects that are a little bit more in line with my personal thesis on what I expect to happen in the crypto markets over the next year to 3 years. And one of those, obviously, for all of you involved right now looking at playing Lost Relics, which you all know is near and dear to my heart, we have a little bit to discuss about Polkadot, Enjin, the future of Enjin, what that could mean for Lost Relics. Really, I'd like to cover a little bit about just some of the research that I've been coming across with respects to the future steps of Enjin, right? And maybe cover what that could mean for Lost Relics at a future stream. I'm not sure what song this is. Let me go ahead and change it up. Let me know how the audio levels are, guys. Lemexis jumping back in, long time. What's your highest sold item? Highest sold item? That's a good question. It's either gonna be... That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to go check the records. It's probably gonna be that Dividing Supremacy that you saw in the in-game marketplace. in terms of, well, no, that can't, that's highest recent, I guess you could say. Highest recent. All right, love it when you get that chalice on the first shot. But yeah, so going back here a little bit about Polkadot and what it could mean for the future. So, or an engine. So I've been watching. Went ahead and gone through all of the different conferences that either Enjin, Vitalik. I mean, I'm blanking on the names. Oh my god. Just been watching in general the previous press conferences that Enjin has been having. WeTech, and been going back, getting a little bit of information on what they've been saying, followed up with some of that information on Polkadot, and we're getting into a really interesting point in time here. Probably the best way to cover it is to start here. It's probably best to start with a top-down view. Let me change up this music here really quick. So starting from the top-down view, you know, I think we have to start with what Polkadot is in general. And really Polkadot, what it comes down to, if you haven't done any homework on it, it's really the blockchain of blockchains. It's trying to make a play on this idea of an interconnected blockchain world going into the future. You know, you have a lot of Bitcoin maximalists and Ethereum maximalists as well that are, you know, that make the argument that that their chains alone are the ones that will have the ability to serve the world and going into the future, and that they're the one chain to rule them all. I personally don't believe in that theory. That does not fit my thesis. I do believe we're going to be going into a multiple blockchain world, and Polkadot is set up or attempting to play right into that thesis. Obviously, Polkadot's creator Gavin Wood, one of the original creators of Ethereum, huge pedigree, backed by a hell of a team, been working on this project for the past few years. In essence, to try to simplify it for you as much as we can, it's going to be a proof of stake network, right? That is attempting to mirror what, if you've done any homework on what Ethereum 2.0 is attempting to accomplish. Polkadot pretty much came into heavy development right from the beginning with that same idea. The idea of a sharded blockchains, if we're going to use Ethereum terminology, where in the Polkadot universe, you're going to have the main relay chain, and that chain is going to be the chain that is connected to all of these quote-unquote sharded chains. Polkadot labels them as parachains. The thing I like about this model and this strategy, assuming that the technology does work, is that pretty much they're bringing in a type of commerce model for blockchain rental and leases over the course of, you know, 1-2 years. So I guess in their perfect world, Polkadot, the relay chain, would be the main governance chain that all other parachains connect to. So you could have a world where different projects across the cryptoverse could have multiple chains connected, could have their chain. They could bid they could try to enter an auction to win one of the parachains, win one of the coveted spots, and have that parachain connected to Polkadot. With all of these different blockchains connecting to the relay chain, it's gonna end up looking like a world where all of these different blockchains, because they're connecting to the relay chain, are going to be able to communicate extremely easy with each other. Okay? So we're going to start to have the idea of like collaborating and working together is taken to the next level, like directly on the blockchain protocol. Now I'm not a specific developer, but you know, I'm more of a, obviously y'all know I'm a CPA. So in terms of the actual development tech, you're going to have to do a little bit of homework on that on your own. But in terms of the team that prepares it, I'm extremely bullish on them. What's interesting is that from, you know, you can look at it, and I've kind of described this a couple times before in different models. You can look at it like the same way a mall would work. A mall in the, you know, in your local community, right? So the mall opens up and offers all of these different spaces for lease. Different businesses, you know, whether they're clothing businesses or whether they're, you know, the food court or whatnot. They each have these different areas within the mall that they can rent. The idea being that the more different businesses set up within the mall, the more likely it is for it to bring in more customers, right? If you're able to go to a mall that has 100 different things available to you in the same place, you're much more likely to visit that mall, right? Okay, this guy is gonna take some time to kill. Hold on, guys. Let me just put this guy let's put this guy down. Come on. There it is. Okay, so we're starting to have the Polkadot network start to auction off. Not start to. They're anticipating to start auctioning off these different parachains. I think their goal in the short term is to get roughly 20, 25 parachains up and running, and if it goes smoothly, be able to update, push forward into like 50 chains that can all connect to the main relay chain. Enjin in general, with their launch of Efinity, is attempting to play into this model. So in previous conversations that Enjin's had, that you can find on YouTube, you know, they've been asked the question about what they believe. Remember, they have to go into an auction-based system in order to win a parachain. So they've obviously been working on Efinity for a year plus now. I would say 2 years plus. Originally, when they were before they had announced what Efinity wants to be, we were all speculating on what the future of Enjin was going to be. It was hard for me at the time when they started mentioning they're wanting to make the switch to Polkadot. It was hard for me to imagine how their development of Efinity. The first thing I was trying to figure out was, as they were developing Efinity, did they make a hardcore change like midway through the development, which completely sent them back to square one? Or has this been part of the roadmap the entire time? Was this their original goal? And they just decided to release that information to the public right now. The more and more we go through it, and the more and more we look through some of this information, it does look like that the switch to Polkadot has been something that they've been working for from the beginning. So remember, in order to win a parachain, they're gonna have to bid for an auction. The way the auction system works is that, you know, they'll be able to. It's a candlelight auction. They'll be able to submit their bids for various time slots of these parachains. And according to their previous press conferences, they have said that they felt comfortable enough that they were going to win one because they had already secured the funding necessary, or the funding that they believe is necessary to win an auction. Now, they didn't really go into much detail about that funding, but they did say that they were confident that they were going to get a parachain, and that they had other opportunities to also win a parachain, if not through the direct auction. Okay, so that piqued my interest. You know, and going through a little bit more of the the details of Polkadot, there are other ways other than winning an auction to be able to get a parachain. Okay, there is a concept that's called the parachains for the common good use. So the idea here that a crypto project could be awarded a parachain without having to pay for quote unquote rent or leasing of that chain, if they provide a common good for the entire Polkadot community, for all chains that are involved. If that is the case, going through some of their information, they've also said that they're wanting to develop the same way. Like, you can look at it the same way that Enjin developed the 1155 standard. you know, the idea here of creating an overall standard of minting NFTs that is beneficial to the entire community within Polkadot can be considered, you know, a common good use. You know, if Enjin is able to develop a similar standard to the way that they developed the 1155 standard on Ethereum, then I could see a possibility of them winning, of them being awarded a parachain for common good use. You know, going through the Polkadot convention, I guess they had an online convention about 2 months ago where they went ahead and detailed a lot of information about auctions, about the different people that were already planning on bidding for these different parachains and or participating within the Kusama network, which is like the it's more of an advanced test net for Polkadot. So main projects will start. What is this music, guys? Let me see. Let me switch it up here. Let's switch it up. There we go. So when I was doing some research on the common good parachains, it does look like they were mentioning that typically these projects would not have their own token. That the token of that if they're providing a common good, the token that would represent whatever good or service that would probably be Polkadot. So that sounds a little off compared to what the Efinity white paper is, because Efinity is going to be introducing the EFI token, right? So that does not jive with the white paper of Efinity. There's some clashing information there. Let's see. Another question: where does the auction funding go? Does it go to the Polkadot team or the token holder? So it goes into the Polkadot treasury, which is broken up into 4 or 5 different funds. You know, those funds can be for grants for different projects to be able to build out common good. Hold on. All right. To build out common good services for Polkadot. But with the EFI token launch, and they've already had both a public and private sale. If you haven't been paying attention, you might want to go check out the white paper for Efinity. They've been continuously updating the white paper on their website without really releasing that information to the public. So there is a whole bunch of more information that is available now that was not available when they released the white paper on Twitter. They've been updating it as they go. I think the most newest information that might take interest to investors would be the vesting periods for both the public and the private sale. We're actually going to have the very first vesting period for, I think it was for the private sale, come up on July 30th here in a few days. So that's going to be really interesting. That may be the first time that the EFI token becomes released to the individual owners for them to go ahead and act on it as they will. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. Keep an eye on that. But if Enjin, you know, has 2 options here. They can win an auction. They can straight up win an auction based on however many Polkadot they're holding. They could apply for a common good use. But because they have that clashing idea of their own token, in order for the common good use to be approved, more than likely, the governance of Polkadot would need to pretty much buy out the EFI token holders to replace the EFI token with Polkadot, should they decide to win that standard. Again, of course, in order to win that standard, in order to win that parachain through that method, whatever the NFT standard that Enjin develops for Polkadot would need to compete with all the other NFT platforms that are going to attempt to get on Polkadot and be the leading standard for the community. Now, because of the different connections that Enjin has, and it obviously has significant connections, most recently, you know, about a year ago, it got approval to be considered one of the trading tokens available in through the Japanese government for crypto gaming, and then recently I forget the organization, the UNI, I forgot what the name of the organization is. I think it's the World Economic Forum. but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go look it back up. They recently got a speaking slot to discuss how Enjin specifically and blockchain technology can benefit the world. That was really interesting. It didn't really release too much new information to the public, but it did. You know, just the fact that they were awarded one of those spots, you know, is quite telling. Obviously, with the public sale of the EFI token as well, we have. Okay, let's go ahead and see if I hit. Nope, did not win that chalice roll. Where were we? Yeah, okay, so going back to Enjin, you know, two chances to get this parachain. In the different press conferences from Enjin, they were pretty confident in one or two of the discussions that the parachain was already theirs. But according to what I'm hearing from just the DOT community in general and the DOT press conferences, it doesn't seem like that is the case. So that's a little interesting to consider. Regardless, if Enjin is not able to win a common good parachain, and winning a parachain through the candle auction is the only method, then a third option becomes available to them too if they get into like really high competition for one of the chains. They could ask for a crowd loan. So Polkadot holders that wanted to support Enjin winning a parachain could lend their Polkadot to Enjin for the auction specifically. Should Enjin lose the auction, the Polkadot would be immediately returned to the individuals that lent them that Polkadot. If however, they win the auction, then the Polkadot that the community gave to them for that crowd loan would be locked up for the length of the auction, and I guess we would have to assume that lockup would be at anywhere between 6 months to 2 years, and I would say to just consider it 2 years if we were going to be doing that. So keeping all that in mind, understanding, you know, what my thoughts are on Polkadot specifically, and obviously the ability for Enjin to be able to continue, you know, its path in the crypto gaming space. You know, I kind of saw it like as a win-win here. I have the ability to support both Polkadot, which I already believe in, to the point where I've even started questioning to what degree, you know, in terms of valuation, to what degree do I believe in it more or less than Ethereum? I think Bitcoin, because it is a proof of work blockchain, is going to be different. And since Ethereum is going to be converting to proof of stake, you know, that's going to be a very risky conversion. Looks like I need to do one more run to finish these chompers up. So what I went ahead and did is I took advantage of the market. I took advantage of the downturn in the market, and I went ahead and invested pretty heavily in a position in Polkadot just to be prepared in whatever case. Because, like, in general, I do believe that Gavin Wood and the team at Polkadot is going to be successful enough to make Polkadot happen. I do think that there's a chance that Polkadot coming into fruition may occur sooner than Ethereum 2.0 launching. You know, my current expectations for Ethereum 2.0 is late 2022, early 2023. And I do think that the parachain auctions that are coming up on Polkadot could lead to a rush on for the Polkadot token. Right now, a majority of DOT is locked up in staking, and I believe, I'd have to go back and research this, I believe in general, DOT is that there's a certain amount of time required before you're able to unstake your DOT. I don't know if it's on the lower end like 1 or 2 days, or on the higher end maybe 1 or 2 weeks. I think if I remember correctly, it was somewhere like, I don't know why 10 to 14 days is like ringing in my mind. I'd have to go double check that. But I went ahead and I decided to go ahead and make and shift some of the portfolio into a position for Polkadot, to both to both prepare for. I see it as a win-win. I believe that Polkadot's going to be successful. I do think that a multi-chain future is what is most likely to occur. I also think that that Enjin, which is obviously, since I'm a huge supporter of Lost Relics, and Lost Relics is currently on the Enjin blockchain, or using the Enjin blockchain to facilitate its economy. You know, should Enjin come into a situation where they need a crowd loan or need a... I originally wanted to set myself up also to be... I'm not sure if you all are familiar with the concept of validators or correlators on the Polkadot network, but I wanted to set myself up to have enough to be able to compete for one of those slots, specifically for Enjin. But it turns out, according to the white paper, that Enjin token is going to be required to meet those standards. For validators are probably, I won't be able to come up with that amount of funds to be able to qualify to be a validator. But in order to be a correlator, I would need to have more Enjin, and there's going to be significantly more Enjin holders, long-term Enjin OGs that will be able to compete for that spot if they want it. So I'm not going to even consider that. That was my original premise, but I decided to let that go. Instead, I'll go ahead and hold the DOT to support Enjin and or any other projects that I believe in on the Polkadot ecospace that are requesting crowd loans. And the whole point of the crowd loan, if they end up winning that parachain, and they lock up your DOT, you're going to be paid interest for your loan in the token of that parachain that you supported. So in the case of Enjin, if they go down that route, it would be the EFI token. So it's a way to earn EFI token by supporting them from the very beginning. And there's a whole breakdown in terms of how Enjin EFI token over the course of the next few years are going to be dished out to the community. There's going to be some EFI for staking. There's going to be EFI for placing loans on the marketplace. There's going to be a EFI for holding Enjin token. So there's going to be a lot of different methods for you to be able to accumulate it EFI token. Obviously, other than buying it directly. So those have been the things that have been on my mind. Jan, jumping in on YouTube. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. So I think it's interesting because Enjin is pretty much at a... I mean, they're going to be going into pretty fierce competition, I think. I believe that they have the talent within the organization to pull it off. But there have been things in terms of like the overall standard building. Like if they really did want to go for that common good parachain, I think WeTech has the ability to be able to create that standard. I mean, he already made a very successful standard with the 1155 token, so that gives me a little bit of confidence. Of course, there's been some items with Enjin that I have not been too fond of. Mostly the way that they've decided to support the developers within the community and the overall Nginx blockchain marketplace. I've seen the other competition for different marketplaces come in and blow them away on that end, but I do think that Enjin is probably going to be one of the largest gaming tokens in the space, which would mean that with this investment that they recently got, you know, they can build a whole new future for themselves. What's my preferred way to put ETH into the Enjin wallet? There's a whole bunch of different ways, man. You can move ETH from different exchanges. You can move ETH from you can move ETH from from peer to peer from other players. Yeah, I mean it's Enjin is a Ethereum based wallet, so really you can do it 100 different ways. Just be careful with using Binance, the Binance blockchain. That's pretty much the only thing I would caution. Let's see if I get lucky again. Nope, did not get lucky there. Let's get rid of this bit boy. But how have you guys been doing? Have y'all been hanging in there all right? Grinding hard? do think I think things are gonna be getting exciting for Lost Relics here. You know, I would assume here that we're probably going to have another Halloween event, obviously, once we get to October, which means there's a possibility for a new event coming out within the next, between now and then, right? So an August type of event is likely, I would assume. Maybe not an event, I'm sorry, an August type of update. Something to consider. Obviously, Cliff has talked about forging. Also, the onboarding of fiat on-ramps and the ability for you to move shadow stones, convert shadow stones back into Enj to withdraw, should you choose. Damn. Unlucky there. So I think it's really interesting. Is ETH from Binance okay? So like Binance has its own chain, which I've heard. I've never really experimented with, I don't think. I mean, that's not true. I've made transfers, but I think I've heard a lot of people having issues. So just be careful there. Do your own homework on it. Make sure you're okay. Let's see. Axel just started playing a few days ago. So were you brand? Oh, hold on, really quick. Were you? Did you just recently make an account, or you had your account for a long while and you just recently came back? Now's the time, man. The downtimes on the game and the market. Like I say, downtimes. We're sitting at 480 active players, which is not bad. But obviously, we have a current cap right now in terms of the community being onboarded. So we're not doing too bad. Let's see. F2P Gaming coming on in and saying, just checking on your preferred exchange, Gemini, and they don't offer dot. Any changes that you don't care to say? Exchanges. So I know Polkadot's available on. Polkadot is available on Coinbase for sure. So I'm in the U.S., so Coinbase is typically the preferred way to be able to access different tokens. I don't know exactly. I'd have to go check CoinGecko to see what exchanges Polkadot's available on. But considering, so I ended up investing in DOT, right before the peak of the market a few months ago, before we had the turn down, and now getting an opportunity to like lower my cost basis is something I had to take advantage of with it being so low. So I was actually able to get in at around, it was like $10.70 just a little while ago. So that made me feel really, really good. It feels really good to be able to gain that position now. There's also been some rumors circulating around that Facebook will be launching DM and is experimenting with the Polkadot blockchain. So I think that's kind of interesting that Facebook might be looking at heading that way. If so, obviously having a token that's going to be as prevalent as Diem within the Polkadot community will just be extremely huge. Like that by itself has the ability to change the outlook for Polkadot completely. I'm getting trapped here. And I'm probably going to have to pop a potion. All right, no potion needed. So we finished the chompers here. Maybe we'll go change it up here. Whoa. Jumping in on YouTube, guys. My bad, I missed y'all over there. Hold on a second. Let me get out of this. Did I miss anything? I did miss something. Let's just end it. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Let's see. So Axel just heard about the game just recently. Okay, cool. So you're a brand new player that just came on board. Yeah, man. Think you're going to be pleasantly surprised about what Lost Relics has to offer. Okay, let's see. Rogers, jump on in. Great stream. That 1-inch integration would be nice. Yes, it would be. Yes, it would be. I ended up, I was one of the lucky ones that was able to get in on that airdrop with 1 inch from the very beginning. Let's see. You think it's possible that Cliff could put shadow stones on a daily quest type of reward? I don't think that that's a feasible outcome. No. Just because that would completely change the monetization of the economy if that were to happen. Doesn't mean it can't, but just think the likelihood is very low. Very low. That would be my opinion on the future. Let me go look here. Maybe we work on completing some of these really fast. Need some fishing spots, grumblers. I want it. Where did I leave off with my? Yeah, let's go ahead and do 1 or 2 of these before. Let's go knock this one out really fast. Pause this. I think this game, I think right now, probably the main things for players to be looking out for in the beginning of the game, or like where the things to pay attention to, obviously, however this fiat on-ramp gets to play out would probably be a very important one. Also, the ability to withdraw the shadow stones is going to be important. What else? What else? I thought I had more lofties. I guess I'm out. I'll go make some right now in a little bit. Best loadout reveal. Yeah, man, gotta love it. There's the stats for anybody that wanted to check in where we're at. Need to get that wood cutting to level 40, so I'll be finishing that bad boy up soon. Maybe do a little bit more production. Potion pack. Oh, we still got some time before we gotta do that one. Howling opened 101 gold chests. Nice. Did he get anything? I haven't checked the Overseer, so I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully he got some good stuff. 101 gold chests. It's not too bad. I wonder if he recorded it. He should have put it up. That would have been awesome. Yeah, I saw that 2 of those sand dragons went. So that was nice. Probably be pretty nice to see those bad boys in action. Oh, I forgot the mining tool. Oops. Wasn't thinking there. I hope he hits something for 100 gold chests. 101 gold. That's like 5 mil. Yep. You're farming those blockchain items, man. I don't know if he streamed it or if he put it on YouTube. I haven't seen anything on YouTube. I haven't been really checking on stream. Everything's been going crazy IRL with a lot of work, so I've had to been concentrating on the firm. But I mean, safe to say, if things continue to go well this week, I think we're going to be at a really good spot. So I should have some more free time. We'll have to see. Fingers crossed. Super Ryu. Oh, Super Ryu streamed it on Twitch? Oh, Howling, what's going on, bro? So did you hit anything good, man? Fingers crossed, bro. I hope you did. 101 gold chests? Like what should you be expecting from gold chests for that many? So obviously going for any of the transcendents would be huge. I just have it. I keep going back to those things. Back to bounties, nothing. 2 epic virtuals. 2 epic virtuals. Damn, man. Ouch. Yeah, man, you gotta you roll the dice, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, you know. But I mean, it is one of the arguments for the uses of gold, right? Since gold is like an infinite circulating item, it just continues to be created. Going for those major items is definitely one of the best ways to use the gold. Especially for you being in your position with the amount of skills you have. How's the Snapdragon? The Sand Dragon. It's called the Sand Dragon, right? I'm sure you've been using it up. Does it feel good? I bet you it feels awesome. I haven't even really gotten a chance. I need to go look at the Blockchain Emporium, guys. Like, I really haven't even... I've been coming in, grinding a little bit, like, in my downtime before I go to bed. But I really haven't been keeping up with the market. Last thing I remember, and this was from a couple weeks ago, that one of those new players, I forgot what his name was, came in and bought that Transcendent loadout from the Enjin X marketplace. I would assume everything's probably stayed the same. I'm not sure if any mythicals are probably sold in-game. Emporium feels a little boring right now. Yeah, it's interesting. So it looks like, I mean, if that's the case, it's probably meaning that fewer and fewer players are bringing Shadowstones into the economy. I would assume. Or deciding to hold for prices to adjust, but people are choosing not to sell. I wonder. Sand Dragon is OP. Oh, there's a video on Super Ryu's. Nice. I'll check it out, man. That's cool. Yeah, I bet you it feels good. I'm trying to remember the statistics off the top of my head. I know it's got the 50%. Did I miss anything? I missed one spot. Let's go back. %40 chance. 40% chance to slow. Mobs 50% for 5 seconds. Very nice, very nice. Did that bounty slowdown affect you at all? I mean, obviously you were gonna get the first one regardless, but get out of here, Sorella. You know what? Maybe I should just finish my both movement speed and attack speed. Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. Cliff's gone quiet for a little while now, which I would only assume means he's working on something big. I really do think, obviously the blockchain, the Emporium model hasn't been fully fleshed out, right? We still need the ability to withdraw. But I really, really do think that this blockchain Emporium is going to be the game changer for Lost Relics. Obviously there's a whole bunch of players that are wanting to get in right now, right? So like that would be the immediate thing that would change price valuations. But I'm thinking more long term, like just the ability, like that by itself is going to be able to fund so much activity for game development. Plus, it's like one more step removed, right? I guess you add another step when you come to entering getting Shadowstones into the game. So that's an extra added step, but it's gonna be nice, man. It's gonna be real nice. Obviously, we've had Axie blowing up for the past couple weeks now. That's been pretty huge. Let me see real quick, guys. All right, brother. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for jumping on in. Cutie Pie, blockchain items drop often. So like right now, I mean, there's roughly, if you check the overseer, you can see how often blockchain items that are rare or above dropping. I've been hitting a bunch of uncommons, so it really just depends on your luck. Definitely during events are times where blockchain items are more likely to drop. The big events of the year obviously being Halloween, Christmas, and Easter. And then right now, this is, man, how many? Yeah. You definitely can find blockchain items right now. Obviously the most common right now is rare weapons and a few epic weapons as well. I would assume whatever the next update is might introduce some more items to the drop pool whenever that update were to come. But I think we've been about, how long has it been since the Chaos tamed? Probably like a month and a couple weeks since the Chaos Chaos update came out. And if that's the case, you know, I would assume anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks here before we get another update. We can reevaluate what the changes to the game will be at that point in time. In the meantime, continuing to farm as often as possible, work up those skills, get ready for whatever the next item is. You know, when obviously when that bear market or when that initial crash on the crypto markets came in and hit everything, that definitely affected different players in a bunch of different ways. But I mean, just coming in from my own personal investments as well, like, I think we've gotten to the point where like the market has started to play itself out, and really fundamentally very few things changed. You know, the one thing that caught me by surprise was really I didn't expect for governments to be reacting as soon as they have. Like government intervention or government activity within the blockchain space was always a given. When that was going to occur, I actually had assumed that it was going to be not on this cycle, but on the next cycle. So looking to like 2023, 2024. But it turns out, I mean, you obviously can't predict what they're thinking, but based on their reaction, it definitely does feel like they've gotten to the point where like they have no choice but to act at this point, which is telling in its own right. So we might have gotten, you know, this famous saying, they say like, first they ignore you, then they make fun of you, then they fight you, then you win, you know, in terms of like how things are adopted. And if we've moved into step 3, you know, now they fight you. It does seem like we may be at the beginning rounds of that fight, whatever that may be. But the truth of the matter, I really just think it all comes down to education, because the majority of this stuff can't be stopped. Like, even if you want to stop it, you really don't have a choice. So, like, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch. I started hearing different crypto investors on Twitter. Like Ari came out and mentioned, like, okay, all DeFi owners, be prepared for governments to start saying that those DeFi items are securities, and you know, be able to prepare to act accordingly. Because obviously, for investors, if an item's a security or a commodity, or its classification makes a huge difference in terms of how you want to proceed with potential investment. So they may come and try to put the brakes on if they go that route. But like I said, it is what it is. How do you check the overseer? So you can jump on. So you just go to the main menu here. You can click on either Telegram or Discord. Well, on Discord, there's going to be a page that's within the Discord that says it says overseer. On Lost Relics, on Telegram, let's see what it's called. On Telegram, you can just search Lost Relics Overseer. Yeah, Lost Relics Overseer on Telegram. Definitely a good little way. You can see what's dropping, see when it drops. Just get a little bearing of what's going on. You already can triple shot. Just right click. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we need to switch up the axe. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. You know, we talked a little bit about Polkadot. We talked a little bit about, let's see, we talked a little bit about Enjin. FT2P Gaming says it feels like a ton of OG Lost Relic players have stepped away. For Axie lately. I made some trades. What's it say? With people wanting to sell more into Axies. Yeah, so that's, I think that's gonna actually be common. Like, I think probably the mindset of most gamers is going to be that they're jumping from game to game. Unfortunately, I do think that most gamers are going to be making those transitions at the wrong times. You're going to be wanting to make those transitions when you're in bear markets, you know, not at all-time highs. That being said, Axie has taken it to the next level of what crypto gaming is going to become. It has some issues. It also has major accomplishments under its belt. So, you know, how the development team decides, how Sky Mavis decides to proceed forward from here is going to be interesting. Best way to tell is obviously let time pass. But yeah, I think that's going to be common. I think that is the free-to-play model dream. Like, you're going to want to easily be able to switch your inventories from one game into the next in game and vice versa. Like, that is the dream, so that gamers can be able to, you know, jump from game to game and be able to, like, either provide value or find or, you know, earn value wherever they decide to go. I personally am not of the mindset of making those types of trades because of how volatile crypto can be. You can really lose your hat if you chose the wrong time to make that jump. For example, you know, the Axie Infinity servers went down because of the huge demand, you know, which is both a good and bad sign in its own right. But I'm sure there's a bunch of gamers that made that transition right before the servers went down, and, you know, they could be hurting right now. So you just got to be smart. You got to be educated. You got to make your own decisions, take your own risks. You know, I do think that because gaming in general is a much younger community, I do think the, you know, younger individuals are more prone to the FOMO. But it is what it is. You know, people are gonna experiment. People are gonna learn as they go. You know, everyone makes mistakes. I've made a whole bunch of mistakes on my own, especially, you know, in the early days, not understanding like when to, you know, if I was voting in a DAO, when to go ahead and make my vote, when I was going to go ahead and make a NFT, you know, purchase, or making a currency conversion, like making sure that you understand what you're doing, right? How much ETH has been burned by people not being patient enough to wait for the ETH gas fees to come down, you know? In the long run, that's going to cost people hundreds of thousands of dollars without them knowing it, right? But if you understand that that's part of education, like experimenting with these blockchains comes at a cost. That education costs is going to come with mistakes. So it just really depends on your perspective. Of course, wherever you can avoid basic mistakes that hundreds of people have gone through, you're going to want to do that, you know. But like I said, it comes with time, research, education, and risk taking overall. So you got to be careful. You know, from my personal mindset, like, I have been eyeing Axie, but I'm not going to be making any moves anytime soon. more interested really on how the token economics of the game is going to play out, because so much of it is going to be based on the amount of hours that players are willing to put into the game, which is going to come down to player sentiment, I think. So yeah, it's gonna grow and it's gonna pull back. You know, that pullback might not come for like significantly higher times from now. Just don't FOMO, I guess is my point. If you do your homework and you realize that, hey, it's worth the risk now because of XYZ, you know, understanding like that you're paying at an all-time high prices, but you believe that the all-time high prices are merited for whatever reason. As long as your argument is a good fleshed out argument, you know, don't hold back. But, you know, if you're not even able to take the time to put together an argument about why, and, you know, it really does help for most gamers, you know, if you have an idea on what you want to do, you know, find someone you trust in and say it out loud. Like, say it out loud. Don't just keep it in your head. So many different ideas can easily be the holes can definitely be poked when you just take the time to say it out loud and construct a valid argument. On top of that, I mean, if you really wanted to take it to the next level, if you were willing to write down, like put your thoughts into words, like the time, the editing time and the proofreading time of your thoughts is honestly like the final step of formulating any major argument. Let's see. Wondering and asking, because I don't know. Does Axie have an income source rather than income from players buying? Yeah, so like there's the Axie model's like really broken down into like it's a triangle system right now. It was developed by Delphi Digital, and they released the tokenomics in the white paper of the Axie ecosystem, so you can find it. But in general, you have the Axie token, you have the small love potion, smooth love potion, and you have you know the Axie treasury and its interactions with both the development team and the community, right? So and then obviously the Axies themselves as NFTs. So Axies are you know being traded peer to peer. They originally were sold for fundraising to start the project. Those Axies, in order to breed those Axies, you need smooth love potions, which are earned by playing the game. Those smooth love potions are like an ERC20 token, and are tradable and carry their own independent value. So as if players are wanting to get a hold, like there's only a certain amount of Axies that are available for players. In order to create more Axies, you have to breed them, which costs that currency. So the value of that currency is going to be based on, one, how many players are earning it per hour or per day or however you want to look at it, and how many players are using it to breed more Axies. And obviously transaction fees from the network and from players are going into the treasury of Axie, which are being used for various development features. So yeah, it is an interesting model, but it does come down to play. It comes down to play time. It all comes down to time, just like in Lost Relics. Now, the way you value time is going to be slightly different. But you know, we've obviously seen Lost Relics take off in terms of not only the player community but the investing community as well, which is, you know, the perfect place you want to be. They have obviously had some troubles recently, I think, with that DDoS attack that they had in the servers. Not sure where they stand with the servers right now, if they're back up and running or not. But I think that's going to be common for any major crypto game that's going to explode. The attention, the monetary incentives are all gonna bring in bad actors, and how the community and how the game responds to those actors over time is going to be telling. So it is what it is. Let's see. I only have so many hours of the day, and I don't want to stretch too thin. My current choices are Lost Relics and Kingdom Carnage on mobile. Future. Okay, for the future, you're looking into Elysium, the Guild of Guardians on mobile. Hopefully you can manage all of them properly in the future. Yeah, so I like your ideas there. Obviously, you've picked some of the more prominent games there that you're interested in pursuing. But you're right, time does factor into everything. Do you want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, or do you want to specialize in one particular game? But you need to understand the amount of resources that you have available as an individual and the amount of time you have available as an individual. A lot of these games are going to follow the same free-to-play model that we've seen, just adapted over time, improved upon for blockchain gaming, where time is going to be the main item that holds most players back, and players that are willing to contribute to the economy are going to pay up for that reduction in time. So like take me for example. Like I'm a CPA, crypto investor. I own and operate three or four multiple businesses, sports cards and collectibles, among others. And I know for a fact I don't have the amount of time to grind out lost relics as most players would. But because I've decided to specialize, in the game, the free time that I do have, I am contributing into the lost relics economy, but also understanding that since I'm not going to be on the top of that, since I'll never be on the top of that leaderboard due to time, the best way for me to be able to compete with those individuals is through investments, right? So when I see lost relics NFTs that require X amount of time to be able to obtain, and according to the amount of time I'm able to put in, there is a added value there. Oh, don't want to leave yet. That was a misclick. So you could look at it for, let's say there's an item that takes 1,000 hours to be able to obtain, but comparatively speaking, the dollar value of that item only comes out to 500 hours worth of time, for whatever I'm paying for. I'm saving 500 hours and getting a reduced price. That's where you can see some of those ways of valuing items, right? It's going to come down to the same old method: scarcity, collectability, utility. Now obviously cosmetics, and scarcity. All of these items are going to play a role in how these items are evaluated, and not only within one project. I mean, obviously we're going to be talking about the metaverse, so you can have an item that has lost relics utility and has other multiverse universe utility across different games or whatever, and that it could increase the price for whatever reason. So it's a hard calculation to make, but yeah. I mean, for example, if I see an item, let's see, jumping on in. What? Howling. Wait, where did I leave off? Howling comes in. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, if there's no other income source other than player investment, how can I offer some regular income to any player? I mean, what happens once new investment stops? Kind of seems like a Ponzi scheme. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a Ponzi scheme, but that is a risk of investing within the game's ecospace. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if these games aren't fun and aren't sticky, and players don't, just like any other project, if Facebook can't retain its users, Facebook's no longer valuable. Same thing with Airbnb or Instagram or Spotify. Like if these different projects don't retain their user base, doesn't matter. That is a huge consideration on in what these items should be valued, or what those services could be valued. LR doesn't seem to cost the same. The LR doesn't seem the same because if players' investment stops in LR, you won't actually die, since it doesn't promise any kind of regular income. Right. So it's really going to be interesting, because I don't think we're at a finalized, like when Axie Infinity released that white paper for their token and for the tokenomics. I thought that was really interesting, because that paper came out before the game was fully developed, right? Just like it was a funding method before the game was fully fleshed out, which kind of puts the developers of the project in a bind, because now they have to develop around around that model. Now, that that buying, it's just a trade-off, right? Because they're trading money in advance, which can help further development of the game for the constraints of working within the ecosystem that they developed, right? Changing that ecosystem is obviously going to have to happen, and I mean, it already played out. Like, didn't they? I think they increased like the cost for breeding Axies to keep Axie prices more stable. So that changed from originally what they had in the white paper. So nothing's set in stone, but it's just an example. There's going to be examples of where economics affects gameplay, and then there's going to be examples of gameplay affecting economics until we find a sweet spot, right? So, like, obviously, with Lost Relics, the game hasn't been developed to that degree. So the future economic model is still unknown. Right now, really, the only way for players to really earn is through the luck of finding blockchain items or your skill within peer-to-peer trading and timing of the market. So it isn't the same as the smooth love potion model. But I think that also means I think that's also because the economic model hasn't been fully developed yet, right? So what it's going to be, who knows? It really is two different things. Like, the economic model came out first for Axie, gameplay came out second, and with Lost Relics it was the opposite. Gameplay came first, and the economic model came second. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see where it all plays out and where it all ends out. I mean, I don't think either one of them. I think both of them have their advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the day, I think the most important thing is like player retention. Player retention is going to be the number one way to value these models, right? Like Metcalfe's law, right? The more increased users on a network, raised to the power of raised to the power of their activity on the network is going to be how to determine the valuation of the network. So rather than having to go through all of the, advanced, information diving about, how much everybody's spending, it's much easier to just look at player count or, player adoption, amount of hours played, different ways to look at this. Like, you can look at it, like, at least within Lost Relics, you can look at it like, one, how many congruent players are there? Two, how many monthly players are there? Three, how much gold is being earned? Because gold is a representation of gameplay hours, adventure hours. Average level of player. Like, so if the average player that's playing right now is like level 35, level 40, you can estimate out how long it probably takes someone to get to that combat level. There are a lot of different ways to view it, right? But at the end of the day, I think the most telling thing is that look at the progression that we had from 2020 for Halloween event, Christmas event, Easter event. Like, just look at that progression in terms of player count and understand what Lost Relics is able to accomplish. Cliff obviously had to put a hold on that because it's more, it's the same thing. It really doesn't matter, because even Sky Mavis with Axie that has a team behind it with significant millions of dollars of investments, they're not able to grow with how much demand there is. All it really means is that there's so many players that are wanting to play these games that developers aren't going to be able to keep up. Even if you had, we already see it with like AAA studios, right? Like when games like Cyberpunk come out, AAA games, millions of dollars of budget, and the players are once released. Now that release was like not a great release, but you already have players demanding from day one, why isn't there this? Why isn't there that? Why isn't there more DLC for different games? Like, the content that developers are able to put out will never match the speed of the demand that consumers want to consume the product. That's why the video game industry is so large. So keeping all that stuff in mind, you can see where the tips and turns on the market would be. Let's see, F2P Gaming said it does sound similar to it does seem similar to me. Also, Howling Axie seems too dependent on the continuation of bringing in new players. Want to become famous? Oh God, blocked you. Okay, so wait, how do I get this off my screen? What the heck? Okay, there we go. So spam, yeah, it's just spam. So where we live off? Yeah, I do think it's just going to be interesting. Like crypto gaming, we're not there yet. You know, what crypto gaming feels like to me is the way that Halo 2 felt like in 2006. And I'm sorry, I said Halo 2. I meant like more like MLG esports in 2006, where there's like enough to support income for, you know, the top, and I'm not going to even say percentage, like the top overall 64 to 100 players of a game. That's less than 1% of the game. You know, so it's still very early compared to like the amount of money that's like involved in like esports right now. So hello, Cyrilla. It's still way too early. Way too early. Players need to be I just think smarter investors are going to be the ones that are looking at how this model plays out over the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years. You know, those are going to be the ones that are able to more accurately predict price changes, being able to see like fluctuation in markets. It's going to be new because so many players. It's weird because a lot of these investors are going to be gamers, right? And we're bringing forward this like traditional mindset of like where's gaming has come from the past, and that for sure is not going to be this. It's going to be influenced by this, but it's not going to be the same. We're really going to build it out together as a group and as a community. You know, you all know me. I've always been, you know, willing to share my thoughts and my ideas, whether right or wrong. And a lot of you have called me out on all the times that I've been wrong for sure. But, you know, it is one of those things where we're in uncharted space. No one knows how Axie is going to play out. You know, not even the developers or the gamers that are deeply invested in it. We're going to come across, you know, black swan events. We're going to come across like, you know, potential that we never thought possible. You know, someone's going to come out with a new NFT protocol or standard that's going to completely change what we thought utility meant. You know, it's going to be a very chaotic market for a long time, and it's not going to be stable. So anyone that assumes, you know, look at how many players were saying, I might say players, investors were saying like at the peak of the crypto bull market, you know, back in April, that they were quitting their jobs and like moving full on into crypto. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get you wrong. Like, I was dreaming the same dream, you know, but we're not there yet. It takes years to build out these types of dreams. But it is what it is. Guys, I'm probably going to have to excuse me, call it right now. Maybe I'll do one more run after this one because I do need to take off. So feel free to spam me with whatever last questions you have. Maybe I can give you my opinion and you can give me yours. I do think one thing to be said is that across all the research that I've been doing, more and more crypto investors, investment firms, VC firms, you know, players that are dealing with millions and millions of dollars, able to do fundraising, you know, to the tune of multi-million dollars over the course of one fundraising event. All of them are starting to have more and more conversations about the gaming ecospace. But it's so funny because I listen to so many of these conversations and they're also not gamers, right? So it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird to see how these different VC firms come out and affect the blockchain gaming space. Like, for example, it's completely possible that a majority of these firms could come in and buy up enough of the Axie tokens to be able to, control governance, right? Outside of the hands of gamers. And I think a lot of gamers are right now assuming that because it's a video game, that the future of it is going to be built the same way that developers and gamers have thought in the past. And I don't see that as a realistic possibility because of the amount of capital that these hedge funds and investment funds have. Like, they're going to have their own. They're gonna carve themselves out their own niche of this community that isn't being seen just yet. Right now what we're seeing is a lot of these guys invest in like major invest in NFTs, which is good for the overall economy, but that's not the end of it. It's going to be actually just the beginning. That's them dipping their toe. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But either way, like, I'm glad I was able to jump in with you guys. No, I haven't had the opportunity to stream lately because of work and life in general. But we will see what we could be doing here. Hopefully I can catch up with you guys a little bit more often. Obviously, the second a new update comes out, I'll be here 100% streaming as much as I can. But right now in the downtime, make sure to, I make sure to get the IRL items taken care of, so that when those updates come or when a game-changing event does happen, obviously need to be prepared for it and be there for it. But in the meantime, overall strategy, now's the opportunity. There's approximately 15,000 players right now that could be, it's probably more, but I'm just using like monthly number count. But like, I would say there's roughly 15 to 20,000 players that have the ability to log in right now, that are probably choosing, because it is downtime or because, they're playing Axie or for whatever reason. Right now, in terms of Lost Relics, like right now is the time to take advantage of you're giving yourself a lead in terms of where the rest of the player base is going to be if you're continuously playing right now. That's why I make sure to do do your daily login quests, whenever you get a little bit of time. Just know, if you're grinding right now and other players aren't, you're preparing for that next event while they're not. You'll be in a better position to execute with whatever happens. It could be good. It could be good. Yeah. In terms of Polkadot, start keeping an eye. I'm assuming here maybe in the next 1 month and a half, we're gonna hear some news about Polkadot auctions, parachain auctions. We'll probably get some type of update from Enjin in general. I'm sure that information's is being held closely by Enjin and not being released to developers or like major community members. So I'm sure it's going to be a shock to a bunch of people with whatever news comes out. Keep an eye on the Enjin white paper to get an idea about those future changes. But I do think there's an opportunity here for Enjin in general to either succeed or fail and have to change the game plan. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. What that could mean for Lost Relics into the future, nobody knows, but hopefully we'll be here to discuss it, give you guys some insight, and I'm gonna definitely be around. So I'll hit you guys up. Like I said, find me on Twitter. Whenever you want to go ahead and shoot me a message or whatever, there's my tag on Twitter right there, FMuñozCPA. I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll definitely catch up with you guys a little bit later. For right now,